don't have the men on here, so they're gonna be extra critical
I
of the
don't care.
podcast.
I'm gonna have fun.
I
Y'all
don't see a
ready?
problem. I don't see a problem. Don't get me in trouble.
Okay.
Dang, what did I get into? Maybe I should have just stayed on Twitter.
Instant regret. I should have stayed on Twitter.
I'm not with
Two.
them.
Black alert. Black alert. Black alert.
Welcome back to another episode of Black Alert Podcast.
Long live the Empire.
Okay. Your melanated reference to all things Trek across all four quadrants. I am Marisha, and I'm here on the con with the bridge crew. Shenikwa,
What's up, y'all?
you gonna say hey?
Hey.
Grace.
Is at Casual Grace. Hey, I'm the one who's always singing in the background. That would be me.
Reina.
Hey, everybody. Velvet 214. How you doing?
And Dre.
What's going on?
We have a very special ambassador with us today, Mora.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for inviting me.
So how did you become a Trekkie, Mora?
Actually, it's not that many years ago I became a Trekkie. It's about 6 years ago. For reference, I was born in 1980, but so when I was a kid, all we had was basically national TV stations and satellite TV if we could pay for it. And none of them showed Star Trek, so I never ran into it until I ran across the Kelvin Trek movies, JJ's Star Trek. And that's what drew me in at first. It's about 6 years ago. I started watching. Then I went back and saw the original series and the movies. And then I kind of been jumping back and forth in it since then. And Discovery really pulled me back in. And I got back to watching the parts I've been missing, which is Voyager and parts of the Next Generation. So without JJ's Trek movies, certainly have their problems, but without them, I wouldn't be here. So for that alone, I'm thankful they exist.
That's really
Good
interesting. You
stuff.
starting with the Kelvin timeline and having this whole alternate Trek as your start point without any of the references that
Yeah.
like the rest of us have
It was-
previously.
It was actually quite fun because I watched the two JJ Trek movies and it might have ended there if I hadn't seen the whole debate about Into Darkness being a Wrath of Khan ripoff and then deciding I'm not one to let other people make out of my mind about things. So I think I'll go back and watch it. And I realized, hey, there's a whole lot of movies. All right, I'll start with the first. And let me say, I do not recommend starting with the motion picture as the first one usually.
Never start with the
Ah,
motion
that was
picture.
good.
Just go straight to Wrath of Khan. 'Cause,
Yeah,
man,
in retrospect, I should have.
Yeah.
Spock who carried me through the whole of the motion picture, so obviously he's a favorite from that, from the whole TOS era. And then Wrath of Khan hit, and I was just hooked.
That's awesome. So, when you reached out to us on Twitter, it was because we asked for someone that identifies as non-binary to come on the show, and you were the first person that everybody had in mind, probably.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm very grateful to be here and to get this chance to talk from. Like, I'm a bit unusual maybe because mostly when people think about non-binary people, they think about maybe someone at Dura's age, actually, like a teen or someone in their 20s. I hit 40 this year. I actually come out as non-binary until a bit earlier this year. I didn't even encounter the term non-binary until I was in my 30s. I had always had this weird relationship with gender. Like, I was assigned female at birth. I always knew I wasn't a boy, even though I did boy things and guy things when I got older. I'm not a guy, but don't really feel like a woman either. So what am I? But I didn't really have a word. I didn't have a reference. I didn't know that there were any options except these two. And even when I encountered the word non-binary, it took me a long time to realize, or maybe accept that, yeah, that was actually me, because I had been living my life, even if the term woman didn't feel like it fit with me. I had been living so large a part of my life with it that realizing that it wasn't me, that there was a better word. It felt
Wow.
it was a slow revelation. It was a process to go through, and that took some years.
So how has Star Trek colored your position, or
You
rather
mean,
your identification? Because a lot of times in Star Trek, we get there, they touch on these androgynous societies, these non-binary societies throughout Trek.
I think actually a lot of the time it didn't really touch me in the same way, because they were always other, like they were always aliens. They were never, well, me also, but not quite at the same time. At least it didn't really move me as such. Maybe because sometimes I felt like I couldn't. I'm also lesbian and I'm pretty gender non-conforming a lot of the time. I don't know how to put this. It didn't really was like it wasn't me on the screen. I remember the first time I really kind of connected with a human, like the only one I really connected with was Spock, and that it's that half human, half alienness. Like I'm a Jewish person in a very Christian world, and that one where you kind of try to make your identity understood and also keep your identity in a world that keeps telling you that you're wrong and you should conform to these other rules while maintaining your Jewish identity kind of resonated with me. But I remember, like, gender sexuality wise, the first one that really hit me was actually Hugh Culver. In, I think it's the second scene, we see him when he goes with Burnham to confront Stamets about River being sentient and that they're basically torturing a person when they're doing these jumps with it. And you just can see him walk down the stairs behind Burnham, and he has this almost masculine power walk. And then, with the discussion has ended and he's leaving, he almost twirls and sachets out of there. And that kind of going back and forth between male and female was something that just hit me so hard. It was like, well, there I am kind of feeling when I saw him. Like
Wow.
he's
Goes to
been
show.
on screen for 5 seconds before that, where he talks to Burnham about Ripper, and it was just so. Also, him being murdered hit me pretty hard. But like, he was the first time I felt like, gender and sexuality wise, that I could be in this future.
That's a very powerful statement, because a lot of times people say, "Hey, your representation is in the aliens,"
It was like,
but that's
no.
not me.
And also goes to show like the power of not just acting but being. It's not just about you being comfortable in the things that you say or you being comfortable in the way that you look to other people, but you also being comfortable enough to move the way you feel like moving. Even just being able to do something as simple as that is very powerful, and something that a lot of people take for granted, like that the way that you walk can
Yeah,
be used to gender you or misgender you or persecute you. Something as simple as a walk that a lot of people don't even think about.
yeah, exactly. The first time I see someone walk that way on Star Trek.
My next question is, with the introduction of Adira, how did that make you feel?
Nervous and hopeful, because like whenever they introduce minority characters, I'm always nervous about how they're going to get treated, but also hopeful, and the fact that they appear to be like the role was human, they're not alien. I know we also have Gray, that's apparently he's played by a trans guy, and apparently also in canon going to be a trans man, but Adira is human and non-binary. Like they're not other, they're not someone else. They're us, basically. So it's like, and I was a bit disappointed when they were introduced by she, her, And but on the other hand, Earth isn't really a paradise anymore. It's not this ideal utopia. Yeah, it's become isolationist. It's only when they encounter with Discovery now that they're beginning to open up a bit towards Titan and maybe later on to the rest of the Federation too. But they're not like the Earth Adira grew up on has maybe not been the paradise we usually think of Earth being in Star Trek. But mainly I was like, I'm hoping they're going to treat this character right. And at least as far as Adira is concerned, I've been mainly positive.
Everyone's touched on the scene of them saying their pronouns and announcing who they are and not saying it's the alien, but their personal perspective, how they feel. Because you also notice that when they refer to Gray, it's he.
Yeah.
So I thought that was lovely.
Yeah, and actually one thing I wanted to say about Adira, it's like the whole coming out scene where there's been a lot of discussion about whether this was well done or not, and a lot of people say that they would have loved for Adira to just have been referred to themselves as they them from the beginning, and not have this whole thing about it. I can see that, but as I said, Earth isn't really that paradise anymore, and also comes across as this very private person who keeps things to themselves until they are certain of themselves and until they're certain of their surroundings before they start open up. And I'm not sure it would make perfect sense for that kind of person to be completely open about themselves from the beginning. But I really like the way it was framed. Like, everyone has been referring to Adira as she, her, including Stamets. And when Adira says, well, I never really felt like a she or her, so I prefer they, them, and Stamets just go, okay, and that's it. Like, when we hear referred to them from that point on, it's they, them. Even at the last scene where Kolbe comes in, and we have not seen Adira come out to him, we haven't seen Stamets tell him about this. As far as we know, he doesn't know anything. But when he hears Paul refer to Adira as they, he just rolls with it. Just as Paul just rolled with it. It's like there's no argument, because for them, and by them I mean in Kolbe and Stamets, it's not a big deal. For them, it's normal. Like, I misassumed your pronouns. I'm going with this from now on. You say you prefer this. I'm just going with it. And it's not, basically, it's an underscoring of it's not that hard. There's also one more thing in Adira's scene there when they say, I've never felt like a she or a her. Well, pronouns are not necessarily gender tied for everyone. Like, there are non-binaries that go by she, her, some go by he, him, no, some go by they, them, some by neopronouns. But to most people, like, when you say, I don't feel like a she or her, what you're basically saying is, I don't feel like a woman, I don't feel like a girl. And like, when you look at Adira, most would assume girl by looking at them. So basically saying, I don't feel like a girl, I would like something more neutral. And while I didn't find Trek when I was 15, if I had access to streaming like we do today, I would definitely have been all over this show. And I'm trying to think of how much it would have meant to like 15, 20-year-old me to have that one saying, wait, you have another option. Even you don't feel like a girl, you don't feel like a boy. There are alternatives. It would have meant the world. And I'm thinking that scene, yes, for those of us who already identify as non-binary, who already know, we might wish something else. But Star Trek is also for all the people out there who don't know who they are yet. And they should have a chance to get the vocabulary saying, you have an option 3, there are alternatives to the binary.
That's wonderful. Personally, we have someone in my family that came out, and all my close family was like angry because they loved the person and they accepted, but it was always that slight. And I had to say, they, them. And until they decide how they want to feel, how they want to be identified, they, them. Well, we can't buy this anymore. It's like, why you can't? Why can't you cater to them as though you did beforehand? Their favorite color is purple. I went in there and found the best purple Adidas, swag gift I could find. And I was like, if you can shop for him, then you can shop for them the same way, with that same attention, with that same love. Because at the end of the day, that's how they choose to identify themselves and what makes them feel comfortable. And
There you go. That's all it. Hey, that's all it really boils down to. Like, respect other people. It may not be what you necessarily want or think is okay or whatever, but that doesn't really matter. We're all trying to just get through this life and just let people be who they are. Leave people to live their lives as they see fit.
Yeah. But also that coming out scene would also make for a good starting point for a conversation exactly there. Well, what is non-binary? Like, a lot of people can maybe understand trans man, trans woman, but because we're so locked into the gender binary and Western civilization that sometimes trying to communicate, well, it's like, I'm not feeling like this. Like, that whole coming out scene could be used as a starting point for conversations with family members and loved ones that doesn't understand what non-binary means and just can't wrap their head around it.
Yeah, I think that was a good way for them to actually do it that way, because that's what Star Trek has done in the past. Like, them having that scene to set that up, that's classic Trek right there. At least it is, in my opinion. We're going to have this conversation, and we're going to go ahead and let you guys, if you need to use it as a springboard into something serious, then by all means, use it and then jump right on in. So I respect the writers for actually having the conversation between those two characters. And that was good writing right there, in my opinion.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to how they develop that storyline, because we are receiving a lot of space dad interaction.
Oh, yes.
Space dads.
I
I
love
love the gay
dad.
space dads. I love this little found family.
We haven't had in Trek since DS9, just a family unit on a ship. So I'm enjoying that aspect. And there's no family drama. It's just them. You get these wholesome moments that it's like a palate cleanser before we get to Terra Firma.
Terra Firma.
Terra Firma.
Terra Firma.
Okay.
I know we're about to get off in that, so I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I did not expect any of that, but
I'm shook.
I was shook to my core. Boy.
My edges was snatched. My edges was snatched. I need some regrowth.
Don't get too ahead of yourselves. We gonna have to talk about all of that.
Okay. Brief recap of the episode. We open with some cool cinematics and learn about what's happening with Giorgio. There's some references to the temporal chords and a little nod to the Romulan mining ship. Next, we get into this debriefing, and I want to start here with this debriefing. I'm going to shoot at my captain, Saru. Saru is trying to play this by the books, as though he has not learned that by the books is not necessarily good for anyone. And I feel like this is as much as we have this reoccurring thing with Michael being a rule breaker, we also have this reoccurring thing with Saru trying to play things by the books after being shown desperately that maybe the books don't work. Eventually, of course, I'm going to call her Zora. Zora gives the information that if Giorgio can be saved, it's on this vacant planet, and there's interaction between Burnham and Giorgio. We have Saru saying, to hell with Giorgio, the needs of the many. Ain't nobody gonna miss you.
Oh, wow.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt.
You're not wrong, but yeah.
He was like, oh, such a pity, you're gonna die, huh? Well, that's not our problem. That's how I
They
felt like
clearly don't like each other from the moment she stayed on Disco in their universe. He's like, oh boy. Yeah,
it.
okay.
We get hints at Admiral Vance's life inside the burn. Him admitting, I've made plenty of wrong decisions and I've had to live with them. Don't go down this road. So, in those interactions, what stood out to you guys?
I think it's funny how Saru is like Mr. Protocol, Mr. By the book, and Vance tells him this is not how it always works. Unfortunately, we have to make the tough decisions sometimes that are not written in the Federation manual that you've studied. And he kind of reminds me of Boimler from Lower Decks, who's obsessed with got to do everything by the book. And I think it was the second or third episode where they were doing their tasks, and they had their timed, they institute this new time thing, and everybody's like freaking out, and he's having a great time because he's used to order and everything being 1, 2, 3 versus this is not how real world works, and we have to sometimes jump out of that bubble. And I really enjoyed that moment. And also, I gave a little side eye to Vance. And it's like, oh, so you just want to be told in the future what's going on, which I get. You don't want to be in the black. But also, how far does this go with a lot of the decisions Michael has made or other characters on our show have made to not follow the rules or to bend them a bit so that the overall needs of the many are taken care of?
What about you, Grace?
I absolutely agree with what Reina was saying. One of the things that we seem to forget, or at least, it slipped my mind for a little bit, is that Saru is still a very young captain in terms of where he is in his captainhood or whatever you want, his tenure as captain, however you want to put it. And he didn't come to being captain after being a first officer for a long period of time and then promoted to captain after having all this experience under another better captain. He didn't have that sort of, captain school, captain kindergarten, captain nursery, the benefit of that so many other of the captains that we've seen on Star Trek have. He's still very new to this, and he hasn't had the opportunity to see another captain make those mistakes and learn from them. So he, in turn, doesn't have to make those same mistakes and learn from them. He is still very much by the book. And I think it's good that Vance is trying to step in and take that role and show him that you're not always going to get things done by the book. By the book isn't always the best way. It's okay to bend the rules a little bit, and bending the rules may get you a better result. Now, the issue comes later on in the episode when he
We ain't there yet. We ain't there yet.
We ain't there. Yeah, go ahead, Dre. We will come back.
Yeah, it's Saru. This is what makes me want to throw things at him. I get it. You're an alien. You're a new captain, but bruh, use your instincts. Use your heart just a little bit. Just come on, man. Just break yourself out of this. We got to do protocol. But my favorite interaction was Giorgio with everyone else because the crew, they see something's going on and they're like, the whole thing with the glass in the mess hall, and Tilly walks up and she's like, your hand, what was that with your hand? And she's, my hand's perfectly fine. Bow. So it just kind of went back to her being how Terran that she is, because the more people try to reach out to her, to help her, to comfort her, just the meaner we see her get. And she's just like, no, leave me alone before I cut you, basically. So I just thought that was absolutely fascinating to see that interaction before we get into the episode.
Before we get to the good stuff, we have the relationship with Michael and Giorgio, where there's a whole lot of, you're not my Michael, or you're not my Philippa. and that whole interaction where they care for each other and also miss the latter versions of each. So we get to this planet, this destitute planet, and we meet Carl. And I feel like Carl is the Q. I'm so for with Carl spelt with the Q, because he wasn't answering no questions. You was on his time. He was not for it, or Giorgio at that point. And there's not a lot of people that, when Giorgio's bearing her fangs, that they don't recoil, and he's like, "You're gonna die tomorrow anyway. What you want?" So there's been quite a few speculations. I'm for he's cute.
Well,
Anyone else had any other interesting rabbit holes they went down after that?
he could be Q, but let's remember Voyager showed us that there's also the caretaker type aliens. So the Q we know are not the only godlike, omnipotent type aliens. So it's going to be interesting to see, is he Q or is this a completely different alien species that we haven't encountered before the burn? Even before the burn, we've never encountered these beings.
Okay, I'll ride with that. Because we've encountered quite a few that had that omnipotent feel. Some people make whole planets just to be with their dead wife.
That's early in season 2, isn't it?
Yeah, season 2.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
This banter, and I love written word banner. It's beautiful. So we have this banner, and we're not even talking about the fight scene between Michael and Giorgio. The lighting, that wig, and those moves, I don't want to get caught by Michelle Yeoh in the dark corner at night. I practice martial arts, and them fists come fast. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she was taking that poor bag was taking quite a bit of a beating, and then all of a sudden slap came across Michael's face, and but you can definitely see where Giorgio is. She's tired of this, Discovery trying to coddle her, trying to make her feel better. She's just like, look, I'm gonna die. That's it. And she has this quote: Taryn greets death every morning, and it's like I wake up knowing I'm gonna die. Battle is here. I fight to the death, and it was very very fitting for what we see later on with the Romanesque outfits, which we will get into, because I was floored by the costume design. Shout out to the team on Discovery for that, because I'm gonna need one of these outfits. One of them.
Gersha is best.
And that eye makeup, man.
Oh,
I just
beautiful.
Anybody want to sponsor one of those cosplays? I will wear it at my wedding because it was everything. So we're getting there. So Giorgio decides to go the Looking Glass, because that was a very much a through the Looking Glass moment for me, and it's
All hail Her Most Imperial Majesty, Mother of the Fatherland, Overlord of Vulcan, Dominus over Cunos, Regina Andor. All hail Philippa Georgiou, Augustus Eponius Centauri.
That was a mouthful.
That title was wild. I was like, oh, they going through the whole thing. Oh, okay.
her Mother of Dragons.
Yeah, exactly. It gave me very Khaleesi, Game of Thrones vibes. I love the connection towards the Roman Empire there with Augustus / Octavian. I did some research on Iaponius, which apparently is linked to Japan. So there was some nod to the Japanese Empire there. But yeah, she just rolled in like, I'm here, and bow before me. And it looks like everybody seemed to be having a little bit too much fun on the ship. And, you could tell that everything has been lax and too much excitement going on. And she rolls in and is like, uh-oh, here she is.
Yeah, everybody's tighten up real fast, real quick.
And then we see, Taryn, Mira Michael, and the hello mother. It's just the way it came off. It's just like, hello mother. Reminded me of the Wicked Stepsisters in Cinderella. Lady Tremaine, very, sinister, yet Let me keep in line really quickly.
What I noticed that for all this growling and her way with words and that fire that we are used to seeing when Philippa graces the screen, Giorgio, when she gets back into her element, she shook for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I was
Yes.
like, wait,
That
hey,
was
wait,
that was shocking to see.
Yeah.
ain't no
I
backing down
thought.
now. You
Yeah.
about this life.
I I
Okay.
thought that was a great contrast to how we saw her interacting with the rest of the crew. Like, let us come for you. And she's like, no. And then she walks through that door and she realizes when and where she is. Her face was just like, oh, snap.
Not in Kansas anymore.
It was wild.
Reina.
No, that was best. She walked in and it was totally different vibes. She was like, "Wait a minute, I'm not used to this. I've been I've been on the Discovery getting, hugs and do you want to talk, therapy and everybody caring for her. Now it's like cutthroat and she realizes that she's back in the situation where she has to make that decision with Michael and she's learning about the plot against her. It was very, you know, Julius Caesar, who's gonna come with the stabbing,
Uh,
where's it coming from?
Marla.
Yeah. Um, I actually find it very interesting. Like before Philippa goes through the door, she and Michael has these jab at each other, and Philippa brings up a very old one about Michael trying to save her because she couldn't save Prime Philippa, and it's pretty obvious Michael is beyond that now. Like she cares for the ex-emperor for herself, as problematic as she is. Then when we get to the mirror universe, and Philippa realizes when she is, and that her own Michael is not dead yet, she's the one who becomes desperate to save her own Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like Philippa's almost projecting at that point that she is trying constantly to protect and save our Michael because she killed her own. She had to kill her own. And now, assuming any of this is real, because why are people assuming the world on the other side of that door is even real? But assuming that she's trying to change the past, she's trying to keep her own Michael alive.
I think that speaks to how much she's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
in the past, she made the decision. She killed Michael, and there was no doubts about it. Death before dishonor. That's what we're doing here. So for her to change and want to
And she
save
almost,
Saru, want to save Michael, and you can see her thinking change,
mm,
which is, I won't say character development, but it gives you hope that after experiencing the alternative, she feels that something can be better.
yeah. I think maybe this two-parters actually to show both her as a character, but also us how much Mirror Philippa has changed, and that she doesn't belong in the Mirror universe anymore.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. And I just thought it was also really interesting how everyone, even though they're like, oh, it's the emperor, people a little closer to her, like Michael, they were kind of like, something with you is suspect right
Right.
now. You
Mm-hmm.
you a little unfamiliar.
I don't
I
like how
don't
you're
know.
moving out of these
Yeah.
streets.
You not
Yeah,
moving like you usually move. Your swag is kind of gone right now. What's going on? It was really interesting seeing her kind of maneuver with the mindset it is that she has because she's not all blood, daggers, and teeth at this point.
no,
What I thought was interesting was her choosing to save Saru.
yeah,
Yes. He
yeah,
wasn't gonna be soup that night.
She has been talking about making him a soup for 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So for her to stop that process and say, "Oh, he was yours. Well, I'm taking him back. He mine now." And then to look at him and say, "Hey, you not scared. Tell me what I want to know. You don't sense any death coming to you from me."
Because didn't she say before that scene that she needed to move differently?
So it was like, okay, I need to figure out some new moves here in order to save myself in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's another reason why she was like, okay, not only was she saving Saru because she changed, but it was also a chess move.
3 steps ahead. Mora, what do
Mhm.
you think?
Yeah, it was part about Saru. Also, I think she's yes, there was adjustment in that, but she's constantly also rationalizing her emotional decisions, like her decision to jump into the future with Michael and the rest of the crew. In spite of the power base she's begun to build in the Prime universe, it was justified with, well, they would have saddled me with bureaucracy that would have been boring. Now she has a rationalization for saving Saru, in spite of Prime Saru not being willing to save her not that many hours before. Like she has a lot of emotional decisions that she keeps rationalizing one way or another.
And I
I,
think in the back of her mind, she's telling herself, "This isn't an emotional decision. This is me
Yeah,
trying to
totally.
survive this." It's
Okay.
totally not emotional, but you see it on her face and in
Mm,
her mannerisms, that it is very much an emotional decision, subconsciously, but consciously, she keeps telling herself, "This is something I would have done anyway before going to the other
yeah.
universe,"
yeah.
and it's just not really working.
I I think it's nice that we get to see her struggle with what the Prime universe has done to her. These emotions, and you can clearly see in that society, emotions mean nothing. They have no nothing. Seeing that change, I think is interesting. Reina.
Yeah, another scene that really got me was when Emperor Giorgio and my, Mira Michael are sitting down, in their nice regal chairs and discussing what's been going on and getting a little catch up. And Michael says that she went to a planet, Kepler, and she wiped out the people. She literally had this power move where she just said, "Well, yeah, I killed them all," and you can see Giorgio's face go, "Wait, what?" It's like she's not there anymore. Her headspace is not in this emperor conquer and divide mode. Definitely, small little things like that definitely are telling, but she's trying to keep her composure. She's trying not to break out, and be discovered that hey, you're not the right person here. I love that entire scene. It was great,
Mm,
and I loved how her knowledge of the Vaharai, Saru, was very telling.
Yeah.
So how did you know about this secret? Uh,
How did you even know the word?
the word, exactly. How did you know about this? This is only between my kind. How did you know about this experience? The look that Saru gives is like, oh, okay, this might be different. And I really enjoyed this scene and these moments.
Shaniqua?
One of the things I want to kind of piggyback on what Raina was saying, because in that scene, Michael is just straight ruthless and just evil, because like in that scene these people were painters and sculptors, but she gouged their eyes and their hands. They would never be able to sculpt again, and she said, and the price of their works will now be, their work will now be priceless or something like that. And I'm like, wow, like she is terrible. And it, to me,
I
I
didn't view
just
it
think
like
that
that.
you didn't view it like that.
I didn't, yes, I view the action as terrible. Let's get that there. But I thought it was spiteful to Giorgio. Like, yeah, you like their work? Well, guess what? You'll never see another piece ever again in life. Look what I did. And tell me I did
Yeah.
wrong. It was a challenge, like, tell me I did it wrong. You can't.
See, I didn't even consider it that way, but my point was like SMG, like her acting skills, because
mm.
on
Woo!
Oh,
exactly like when she's Michael Burnham, she almost has this motherly quality about her. And I think that's because she grew up without a mom and she tries to mother everyone and be super emotional and be everything to everyone. And then here in this mirror universe, she literally is just like evil. And she plays it so flawlessly. It's like, wow. I was that scene and the scenes we're going to, discuss later. I was just like sitting in my bed, like just hunched over, like, oh my God. Like I thought I was watching a scary movie almost.
With that saying, how these actors are like serving us high quality talent. Honor guard, the honor guard, no speaking parts, just ass beating, and I was here for it. The dress, the garb, the face, the everything. I don't think it can get any more beautiful than that, because to command a scene without ever saying a word is so beautiful. Reina, how did you feel about it?
Hot. Just straight hot. Like, I was very thirsty watching the scenes. Shout out to Owo. Like, just looking fabulous.
I cut my
And
locks for that.
even Detmer was looking snatched. Like, everybody was just looking great. The lighting, the costume, the eyeshadow, the golds and the blacks and the red. Love it. Culber with his red sticking out. I love that. Um, a little bit different from everybody else. He's got to be a little snazzy. Shout out to Wilson Cruz. But definitely, yeah. I mean, just moving with just power and authority.
It was
And great. It was just fantastic. And of course, when Emperor Giorgio gets fitted for her ceremony, puts her robe on, and it's this beautiful gold and black, robe and this beautiful headpiece, which I needed.
I need it.
I know somebody on Etsy done made one.
I've been looking at it for 3 months. It doesn't have the headpiece, but I do need that headpiece. That's
somebody has it, and
I need that.
Somebody's making it.
Gorgeous.
Mora, how did you feel about the pageantry and the beauty that was going on?
Well, like I said on Twitter, take me down as scared and horny.
Yes.
Damn.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's terrifying, but also, god damn, there's way too many hot ladies on that show. Like that scene with Oo and Burnham at the end. Like, there needs to be fanfic from that one. Definitely.
It'll be on Tumblr soon.
Watching that scene, and I'm like, how did they do this? How many outtakes was this? Because, yeah, that scene just took me to a whole nother realm of being a lesbian. I promise you. I just was like, I need this in my life. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it so much.
Lord, we would have a podcast. This is where we go.
This episode made me really thirsty between Detmer, Giorgio, Owo, and Burnham. Yes, lesbian Dre is just overwhelmed with emotion.
Grace, how did you feel about that honor guard outfit?
I'm here. Sorry, I had to catch my breath a little because this scene. If there was any question as to whether or not I am as straight as I thought I was, stuff like this that makes me go, oh, you definitely not straight, baby. I'm so sorry. But here we have something that was deep breaths were taken. I know AO3 people are taking notes, and I said in both of the threads that I did, please, AO3 people, if you want to give me some femme slash with Owo doing her Judge Dredd thing, and at some point her and Michael get in a fight, I am here for it. Just write it. I will read it. I will read it again. I will share it with everybody I know. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Everybody looks so good in the mirror universe, so good and so evil. And
I'm,
yes,
And
I'm
speaking
trying to
of
figure
fights,
out.
the fight scene between Reese and Owo,
Woo!
she it was funny because Michael's like, looks like there's about to be a changing of the guard, and Giorgio's like, no, she's fighting for honor. She's the captain, which Owo is the captain of her honor guard, right?
Yeah,
So
they
she's
can
like,
be trusted.
right, and she's like, she's fighting for honor, and we saw her about to kill this man, but she was like, okay, just stop. We got to get to this certain dude, Giorgio, for my new ship. So, y'all kill each other later. I think Michael says that y'all can kill each other later.
not out of
And
that point.
so we don't see Owo finish the job, but man, that was another, yeah, I had whole
What
new respect and hot
I
flash for her.
what I found interesting was the fact that Giorgio told Michael, she's fighting for honor. She had no doubts in Oo's trust. Even when Killy was like, I want to talk to you in private, she's like, nah, they can be trusted. And yes, I said Killy because she was giving me all the wop bap vibes with that hair.
Like, come
The
through,
side swoop
bang.
That
Come
bang,
through
that
the
side
bang.
bang.
The bang.
with the
Right,
Beretta
right.
Beretta phaser,
The
just like,
bang.
what's up, you know? Loyalty always wins, Giorgio says. And as you know, was over there pounding Reese on the floor, and it's like, oh yeah, this is what I like, and this is how it's gonna be. And don't get it twisted, Michael.
I know
You
what
might
you're
have your
doing.
yeah, exactly. I know what's going on, and that was sexy. All
That
about
was.
that.
It a really sexy episode through and through, man. Oh
I
my
think
goodness.
everybody was sexy in that episode. Just even them in I guess that's the mess hall, acting out. Everybody looked good. Everybody, I didn't know whether they was for the fight or have sex, and I was kind of curious to watch either
I
way.
mean,
Uh,
it's the mirror universe. They can fight, have sex, and then go back to fighting. Like
Clean
that's
up
how
style. I
Terrence
like
roll.
it.
You know,
Grace.
and the thing about the universe, everybody in the mirror universe just looks good with the D and the T on the end. Everybody looks good. Culber, when he showed up with the red for the medical officers that we have
Mm,
never seen before, the
mm.
mirror red officer uniform. Hello, come through, come through.
Fire.
He also had that fire eye shadow makeup going on.
Everybody with the
Yes.
eye makeup.
Everybody
Yeah.
with the armor.
Like,
Whew.
Now I want to be an extra in the mirror universe so I can look that
like
good.
I just
I need to.
no, but like just getting
Star
away.
Trek, listen to us. Make this happen. We want to be extras in the Mirrorverse.
There you go. There
getting
you
a,
go. Putting
just
it
getting
out
away
there.
from the sexy side of it because I know we're gonna come back to it. Just seeing Mirror Universe, everyone, and I wanted to point this out because I didn't notice this until my second or maybe third viewing of the show. But we have Mirror Landry, and Landry has been dead since season one. Like
Mm.
Landry, I don't know if you remember, got tardigrade that the Glen was using to navigate their ship. So she hasn't been around in a while, but they brought back that actress to play Mira Landry because Landry is still alive in the Mirror Universe. And she's there. She's the one dragging the Kelpian all over the floor, telling them they'll be good for soup. And you may not notice, but that's not a new character. So she was in the back there looking good in her Mirror Universe uniform. And then another thing that I thought was really interesting in the background, we have human Arium,
Yeah.
like not the robotic half cyborg Arium. We have human Arium in the Mirror Universe, and human Arium that we saw in her favorite memory flashback. Arium as a cyborg was played by Sarah Cheeseman in season 2, so they brought her back to be Mirror Arium. But the extra cool part is we also have original Arium, who is now being played by the same actress that plays Lieutenant Nilsson. And I know y'all didn't see her the first or maybe even the second time around because Lieutenant Nilsson in the Mirror Universe has dark brown hair. If you look again, because I know y'all are going to look after this, she's posted up in the back with her dark long hair also looking good in the mirror universe. So we have a lot of people that may not necessarily be around in the Prime universe, in the mirror universe, and they all look good. Everybody looks great.
Yeah, I need that mirror universe workout plan because I plan to be snatched.
It says a lot too that because Giorgio not only went back to her universe, but she also went back in time, that we see a honor guard Owo who the first time we see the mirror universe for Disco, she gets the axe, man.
Mm.
She did. She got the axe, but seeing her in all her
Glory and beauty
yes,
and
just
hotness. Um, whew,
the
I
thirst
had to
is real
blink
for
3 times.
Honor Guard OO can step
Blink
on
three
me, okay?
times.
Step on me.
I would lick that woman's boots, but that's not it, neither here nor there. Uh, so we have the hotness of the mirrorverse going on, that undercurrent sizzle, and we have Giorgio trying to get through to Michael and save Michael, and then of course all of it fails. It's for naught, and we have this scene, this declaration that I was king, I was queen of that trash heap. You've done nothing for me but make me small, and because someone made me big, that's what I'm rolling with. How do y'all feel about that?
That scene, I'm not gonna lie, that scene hurt the mess out of me. It was triggering because it was like, to me, Michael still didn't realize that she was going to be in Lorca's shadow, in my opinion. It's like, okay, so
Mm.
that's just my opinion, y'all. You know I'm new to this. So it's like, okay, yeah, you were queen of that trash heap. So you'd rather be in a trash heap than, reporting to someone that actually had love for you in some sort of way. And Lorca is definitely using her. And so I feel like this it was painful to see, because even after everything, Georgia has this sincere love for Michael, and Michael
Mm.
betraying her like that, even though it was interesting and cool to see, it was like, ouch, like I felt that pain. I don't know if I'm just getting too emotionally involved, but I was like, wow.
No, I didn't. I saw that too. For me, no matter where you are, Mirrorverse or Prime, you see Philippa grooming Michael for a takeover,
Mhm.
whether it's the ship, her own ship, or Prime Direct, the Prime. So I don't know why she didn't see that. Yes, you were queen of a trash heap. I didn't feel like that was a valuable anger there. I was just like, okay, so this is what penis makes you do.
Yeah,
Uh,
she digmatized.
I was not gonna
See, Mara and
there.
Dre, y'all don't
Mar.
have to worry about that. But
Yes, they do. Uh, Marva.
Yeah, it made me actually think about also Prime Michael, how both of them, Mirror and Prime Burnham, doesn't like having positions they don't feel they earned. Like Burnham has worked her way up, first in the Vulcan Academy, then in Starfleet. She declines the chair at the beginning of season 3 as captain because she feels she hasn't earned it, she doesn't belong there. The reason Mira Burnham is acting out against Philippa is she feels she's been handed it out everything. It might have been a trash heap, but she was queen there. She has earned her way up. She hasn't earned her way up in the Empire. Philippa handed it the whole thing, and that's really her problem. And that's why she can't. I think if Mira Philippa had made her work for it, their relationship would have been different.
I think that's fair.
Grace.
I agree with what Mara's saying in regards to Michael not feeling that she had earned her place that she had been given. And just like she said, she was queen of that trash heap. It was her trash heap. She would rather be a big fish in a small pond that was her pond than a small fish in this big pond that she has no idea what to do in and doesn't feel that she belongs in. Like, so I get that she's angry about that, but also what you said, I mean, like, you get a little and then you lose your mind, you lose your focus, and you're just attaching yourself to somebody else. How is that better? You're trading one not great situation for another, when like what you really want is to stand up by yourself on your own 2 feet. So what does she need Lorca for, really? Like, really, like, mirror burner to be more on her own. Go ahead, Reina.
Yeah, and this whole scene brought me back to another movie that I quite enjoy, Gladiator, with Commodus and Marcus Aurelius, his father. You know, the son's crazy and he's a psychopath, and the father's more of a philosophical type person. And this do not confuse growth with weakness line that Giorgio brings out is, just because you see me change, or there's some instance of a different way that I'm rolling, that I'm working this scenario, doesn't mean that I've completely lost my touch. And I kind of felt that was a very important factor for Giorgio. Just because I, slide differently or work, navigate the streams differently, doesn't mean I'm completely not worthy of this position. Also, Michael is trapped in some way in this need for approval. And I think that's prime and mirror. This need for approval somewhere, instead of relying on her own abilities. Yeah, so it was a great it's a great part.
What upsets me about Michael's character is how they pit her in this treacherous role in both universes. No matter the universe, she's in this treacherous role. In Prime, I kind of understand more. Dre, what about you?
It just kind of, well, this episode, I think the main theme that they've been trying to hit on is what's really strength and what's really weakness in this particular episode, because we see Giorgio back in her own original time and place, trying to get back to something that she's not really familiar with anymore. And we slowly see the realization that we might have been going about our exploration and our conquering of other worlds and other species kind of the wrong way. Maybe there is something to the way I saw things being done in the other universe, as opposed to always projecting this idea that you have to be strong and you have to be treacherous and all of that stuff to have power, to have respect. And I think in a way she didn't realize how tired of that life she was, constantly having to look over her shoulder and all of that stuff. So I just think we're going to see that, and judging from the previews, I think we're going to see that that's going to come to the forefront of her mind just a little bit more. And she's just going to get back to that whole changes and weakness. And they're going to kind of play on that theme a little bit more, which is fascinating to do with a character like Giorgio, who we see is torn the same way we've seen Michael torn from the beginning of the show. Michael just coming from these two worlds. And now we see that with Giorgio at this point.
I do like how they play the duality. I hate that Stamos just can't get a break in either universe. How many times you gonna get shanked, dude? You done got blew up, shanked, threw into a warp core. Can he survive in either one of these universes?
Time. Wow, he's just not
Whew.
meant to normal at all in any universe.
Any universe. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward with. I don't think we're gonna solve the burn with the last 5 episodes. And I'm looking forward for this part 2 and Giorgio just killing it because there's very much some supreme acting going on. So with that, I think we just did a show. Pigs Aren't Culture, aka Mora, for coming through and blessing us with your knowledge and giving us these beautiful moments to think about.
And putting up with our foolishness.
And putting up with our foolishness.
I loved every moment of it, and thank you so much for having me. It's been a true joy being here.
I'm glad we all can agree that it was very much some hot ladies in the Mirrorverse, and I want to be one of those hot ladies. You can follow us on Twitter at Black Alert Pod, where we will engage you, and it probably won't be me, but it definitely will be one of them. Shout outs to
The costume design department. Kim
Facts.
Keating.
Seconded.
Facts.
Costume, makeup,
Costume and makeup. And set design too, man.
And the seamstress filming them and making them for the public, because I expect to see it on Amazon very soon.
Plus size if available, please.
Please
Please plus
the
size.
Etsy for the crown when y'all find it, because I know y'all will find it. So please link the Etsy for the.
Yes.
I just want to wear it to work.
Congratulations.
And I'll
Wear it
definitely
in my
get to look.
house.
On your engagement nuptials there. Congrats.
Future. When the pandemic is over, I plan to take plenty of photos. Please send me your ideas. I will share this part of my life with you.
It's over, I'm expecting an invitation in the mail.
Most Trekkie is sweating. I can't wait.
Trek and Star Wars. Please follow us individually if you must. I am Commander at Trek.
Velvet 214.
At
Sad
Casual
and
Grace.
yellow.
At Draytopia.
I'm still waiting on Grace.
I said it at Casual Grace. I'm sorry, me and Shenikwa kind of overlapped.
And just keep trekking. Thank y'all.
Wow.
Bye.
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 Bye bye.